this up on YouTube? Oh,
right. All right. Well, good afternoon, everybody. It is 3:30, Monday, September 12th, 2022. And this is the City of Charleston Real Estate Committee meeting. It appears that I've got the invocation duties this afternoon, so let's start today with a moment of silence. All right. First item on our agenda is approval of the August 15th, 2022 minutes. Do I hear a motion?
So moved. Second.
Motion and a second on the floor. Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 The minutes have been approved. First substantive item on the agenda is an authorization for the mayor to execute on behalf of the City of Charleston a quitclaim deed involving a portion of Floyd Drive. I saw Ms. Copeland's screen turn on. Are you gonna?
Yes, sir. Yes. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you, Chairman Appel. So in essence, we've already approved this. This is part of the abandonment process we went through at Floyd Drive. We did quitclaim this to the original owner, and prior to them filing it and it expiring, they've actually sold it to a new entity. So this is essentially granting the quitclaim to the new entity.
So move. Second.
Moved and properly seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. The ayes have it. Next item on the agenda is authorization for the mayor to accept on behalf of the City of Charleston as grantee an irrevocable deed restriction in favor of the city in and to 838 Morrison Drive for Morrison Yard LLC. Who's got the honor of giving us some background on this one?
Good afternoon. I do. This is regarding the Morrison Drive property, and in connection with the property owner's request for height and density bonus incentive points under the UP ordinance. They're proposing to convey these easements in favor of the city, and there'll be a public dedication in connection with that as well.
Good deal. Appreciate that. Does anybody have any questions of staff? Oh, Councilman Gregg.
So this was deferred last month, if I'm not mistaken, and just wanted to find out why it was deferred and why it's back on the agenda this month.
Certainly, we had a very minor modification to mirror the language in the ordinance with respect to the hours that the community area would be open to the public, and it will be from dawn until dusk.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Mayor.
Just for everybody's edification, Magali, do you have a
I think that's it.
little drawing that shows what the public area will be?
Let me see if I can do that. I believe it's an attachment to the restrictive covenant itself.
Maybe it was in our.
Bear with me one moment here. I do have a site plan, but it's not very helpful in terms of a visual, other than to show just sort of the plans, but it doesn't really provide a good depiction of what that area will look like.
Right. Well, I would just share it's a very unique and in a way a very urban space that will be open to the public, and it was just to let everyone know it was part of our code's requirements for them to get the extra density and height of those buildings over there. So I want everybody to use the space so the community gets something back for what we permitted over there. Let's put the word out there so when this place opens up, everybody's welcome to use it as a public space. That was the point. Thank you.
Good deal, Councilman Shady.
And I understand this is the first time that the public will have the ability to access this area over there off the Cooper River. So this is a huge amenity for the residents off of Morrison Drive and surrounding areas. This is a huge benefit for the community, and it's just it's good to see this kind of development take place.
Good deal. Does anybody have any other comments, questions? All right, do I hear a motion?
Move for approval.
A motion on the floor. Do I have a second?
Second.
Moved and properly seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Here's the ayes have it. Moving along. Next item on the agenda is an authorization for the mayor to execute on behalf of the city utility easement. This one involves the Citadel, and Ms. Copeland, take it away.
All right, I'm sharing my screen. Let me know when you can see the image.
We're there.
Okay, so here we are. This is Hampton Park. This is the backside of the Citadel campus. What the Citadel is asking for is a utility easement that would run along the backside of this campus here for a steam line to service all of these buildings. So I'm going to stop sharing this one and then share the actual easement document. Okay, can you see that?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so this blue line right here is what the Citadel is asking for as far as a utility easement to install a new steam line. If you look here, we've already got Dominion in two places running a gas easement as well as some other utility easement. So we've already met with Dominion. They've signed off on this and the location and the agreement between the city and the Citadel. And this should actually be good to go upon approval. If you have any questions, please let me know.
Ms. Copeland, could you move back to that other plan that you had up, that other screen?
Sure. The aerial,
Yes, ma'am.
okay.
So this is that area where that chain link fence is along the line. Is that what I'm looking at?
I believe so. Where that yellow line runs, there is a chain link fence that runs on the back of those buildings.
Yeah, okay.
Chairman, I
Move for
move. Yeah, I'll second.
Moved and properly seconded. Any discussion?
Go Bulldogs.
As long as we're saying go dogs to them and not the other dogs. We're good to
Go Citadel Bulldogs. Let's make sure we're clear.
Go Bulldogs. All signify approval by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? The ayes have it. Thank you, Ms. Copeland. Moving along, next item on the agenda is an authorization for the mayor to execute an access easement relocation agreement, and this pertains to 65 Sycamore Avenue, and it's a ingress egress easement. Ms. Creech, please
Yes.
take it away.
I have that one as well. I will attempt to share my screen so I can show you exactly what we're talking about, but this is the property where the former Ryan Steakhouse was located. And as you can see, this is where the current easement is, and they're proposing to relocate it here in connection with their new construction to the property.
Councilman Shade.
So I believe this is what is been referred to or re-identified as Chase Street. Is that right?
Right, because it was only 2,000 that we sold us.
Perhaps, yes, you're right.
Okay. And,
Yep.
and for everybody's benefit, this is a project that's been in the works for, it seems like forever. Taking Ryan Steakhouse, redeveloping it off of St. Andrews Boulevard, going back to the Ackerman Park, to where we have our West Ashley Farmers Market. We've been working very closely with the Grambling Brothers folks, Michael Hopper and company, on this project. And this is sort of one of the missing pieces I think we need to have to make sure that this project can go forward. So I would certainly recommend to everybody approval of this project.
That's your motion?
That's my motion.
I second.
Moved and properly seconded. Any discussion?
I have one quick question.
Sure, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. It was hard to tell, but it looks like they're just shifting it over 10 feet. It wasn't super clear. The attachment in the packet was kind of blurry.
Yes, that's approximately the shift.
Mhm.
Okay.
All right, I'll take it to-
I just wanted to clarify that. Thank you.
We were gonna do it, but they already did that.
All right, any further discussion? Hearing none, in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Hearing none, the ayes have it. Thank you, Ms. Creech. Moving along, we've got another access easement. This one is for 5.5 Alexander Street. And actually, it's not an access easement. I misspoke. It appears to be a 2-year renewable license agreement. In any event, Ms. Copeland, please take it away.
Yes, thank you. So this was in front of Public Works at the last round of meetings. So it turns out 5.5 Alexander Street is right here. It's attached to this larger parcel or this larger house. Our building department, or our public services department, someone issued them a permit to start creating a driveway right here. The issue is this is our parking lot right here for 2 George we use for events and whatnot. So after a pretty robust discussion during Public Works, we were instructed to come back with a 2-year renewable license agreement with some restrictions. One being that we can block it at any time with 24 hours notice for events. One is that the owner has to provide a concrete apron and finish out the construction. Right now, it's just gravel. Since they were stopped, they've been issued a stop work order. And the owner of the house has agreed to all of these terms. They've signed the agreement, which is up for your consideration today. And Public Works will be considering it at 5 o'clock today as well, but we would recommend approval of the agreement.
I move for approval, Mr. Chairman.
Second.
Moved and properly seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Hearing none, the ayes have it. Thank you, Ms. Copeland. It appears that item F has been deferred or removed from the agenda. Is that right, Ms. Cook? I got an email about that right before we got started.
That's right, Chairman Appel. That's been withdrawn.
Okay, withdrawn. Got it. Okay, do we need to take a vote on that, or can we just deem it withdrawn?
I believe you can just move forward.
Yeah.
Moving right along, thank y'all. Item G, this is an authorization for the mayor to execute on behalf of the city of Charleston, a 3rd amendment to the development agreement for Cainhoy Plantation.
That's me.
All right. Take it away.
Okay.
Much enthusiasm. We like that. Yeah.
Well, I'm hoping to get everyone on board and not have any questions. So in 1996, we entered a development agreement with a party that we're going to shorthand as Cainhoy Developer, which subjected approximately 5,000 acres, if you can see my screen, to the development agreement and also the Cainhoy zoning district ordinance, which was ratified at the same time. We did a first amendment, which kind of doesn't really have anything to do with this particular issue. And we did a second amendment in 2014, which added the Cainhoy land and timber PUD, the Cainhoy PUD. And sorry, we're not there yet. And so as part of the zoning substitution, the property description in the development agreement was changed. The revised property description in the development agreement was the same one used for the Cainhoy PUD. So unfortunately, what was used in the Cainhoy PUD did not include the Horton and Triton tracks, which are shown here in blue and yellow. The Triton track is in yellow and the Horton track is in blue. So the intent, though, was to include the Horton and Triton tracks in the development agreement, but exclude them from the Cainhoy PUD. They are intending to remain subject to the CY zoning and to be in the development agreement, mainly for the purposes of the minimum city investment. So that's reason number one. We're doing the third amendment is to bring the Triton and Horton tracks back into the development agreement, as they were erroneously excluded in the second amendment. The second reason is that at the time of the second amendment, new property was also annexed into the city and subjected to the PUD. And there was just an error in one of the TMS numbers. And so we're correcting that. And that is this parcel, little teeny tiny triangle right here. And so that is the third amendment to the Cainhoy Development Agreement, if there are any questions.
All right, thank you so much for that presentation. Councilmember Gregg, are you cool with this?
I am. I just would like to point out that we have a PUD up here with potentially 9,000 new units, and we have no planned park space. So this is a significant priority for the city. You're on real estate committee and with our recreation committee, we need to start taking a look at this. It's obviously growing rapidly up here, and we want to make sure we have proper fire, police, and parks for our new city residents. So nothing particularly with this particular issue on before the real estate committee, but I just want to bring that before you all here because I hope in the near future we'll be purchasing some land up here for future park space for our city residents.
Councilman Shade.
Can you, Melissa, go back to your screen and give us another point of reference to the location of this property and to Councilmember Gregg's point?
I have the zoning maps pulled up on my computer if you'd like me to share that.
Yes, sir.
Would you prefer me to do it?
Oh,
Yeah, if you could, that's fine.
Okay.
I don't want to take anything from Melissa, but
no, that's fine. I'd have to pull up a separate map.
All right. So can you guys see that?
not yet. There you go.
There we go.
Okay.
So the area really, the Cainhoy PUD is this area in purple here, which is a pretty significant land area. This is Daniel Island as it stands right now, kind of bordered by green down here. So just for reference, this is a massive amount of land that's being developed.
And you said this is 9,000 units?
I believe that's the number right now, if I'm not mistaken. I think right now it's around 9,000 units planned. Daniel Island at build out right now will be around 7,200 units.
And you're telling me that there's no parks that were provided for in that PUD?
Correct.
No public parks.
Public parks?
There are amenities, park amenities planned for residents only, is from what I understand of it.
The developers have to provide a certain amount of green space. And from talking with Christopher Morgan, what they don't have to provide are active parks, recreational use spaces.
Yeah, so when I guess that's what I'm referring to. So pardon my incorrect terminology. So that's my concern, is to make sure we have recreation space for our kids up there and active parks, I guess is the correct word.
I just learned this terminology myself.
Well, I mean, not to throw a, huge wrinkle in this, but, here we are about to agree to a development agreement amendment that we're probably not under any obligation to do. From a negotiation perspective, there could perhaps be an opportunity to discuss some of these issues. I mean, now would be the time to do that. Perhaps I'm not trying to get in the way of anything. I'm not familiar with this really. It's outside of my sort of focus area in the city, but I just wanted to throw that out there. Councilman Gregg?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Yeah, so in anticipation of this, I did talk to the developer. The developer is willing to negotiate with us in good faith to try to allocate some space for parks. I think he has some areas that he's thinking, the company is thinking that would be appropriate for that. So yeah, this developer has been a great partner with the city, and we have no reason to believe that they won't continue to be. So I'm inclined to go ahead and approve this, knowing how good a partner they've been, and again, in deference to my discussion with the developer earlier today.
Good deal. Good deal. They have been good partners with the city, and they're good folks. So, Councilman Shade.
Thank you, Councilmember Gregg, for bringing this up. And I visited Councilmember Gregg several months ago. Some concerns we had with access to the water out on the Daniel Island and Cane Hoy's area. And so, Councilmember Gregg, I would reinforce any of your efforts regarding not just recreational green space for our young people to have to play and recreate on city-owned parks and playgrounds, but also to push for access to waterfront property as well, so that people can take advantage of the natural resources we have in the city. I know Councilwoman Waring's going to remember this, but when we were talking about Long Savannah development, and Councilman Shealy and Councilman Griffin had a huge concern about the amount of acreage being dedicated to that part of outer West Ashley, and we needed to make sure that we had enough green space allocated. Not just green space so people can go down and enjoy green space, but we're talking about recreation facilities for people to play football, baseball, tennis, pickleball, all these other activities that is what makes a city is those kind of opportunities to go out there. And you talking about 9,000 units, which means easily 18,000 more residents or 30,000 more residents, just depending on what kind of units are being built out there. And the size of the population is going to just substantially increase. And if we don't have the infrastructure to accommodate that, and we've got a footprint on Daniel Island, not enough of a footprint out there, but we got to do this now. We can't come back later on. This is not the issue really in front of us right now, but Councilwoman Gregg, I really do appreciate you calling it out, because I think that we've got to jump on this opportunity sooner than later, because if we don't, we're going to miss out on what's going to be available to our public and to our citizens. So thank you for doing that.
Good deal. Councilman Waring.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Councilman Shade, you're right. That portion with Long Savannah, I think it was 200 acres that we had set aside. And that was while we were going through this very same process right here. Okay. So I think I wouldn't be inclined to vote for this until we get that part figured out. And another portion, could you put the map back up showing the city, Daniel Island, as well as the lavender purple area for the 9,000 acre tract or whatever it is?
Yeah, hold on one second.
Well, while you pull that up, I happen to have been on the zoning board when Daniel Island came through. I got to be frank, that's one reason I actually got on the planning board. I wanted, at the time they said that Daniel Island had as much acreage as the peninsula of Charleston. And I wondered, well, wow, a whole new city will unfold. And that was my reasoning for getting on the planning commission back during that time. And what a wonder we all behold that's been created over there. But even from the inception, Daniel Island had an affordable housing complex as being part of it to almost a battle. Okay. So then my question here, we don't know about parks. We don't have any parks. Is anything carved out for affordable housing here? By the way, we have that carved out in Long Savannah too.
There is, in the development agreement, there is language, for affordable housing. And I can, send that to you, Councilmember Waring.
Well, I mean, before we vote on this, I'd certainly like to know the specifics of it.
Sure.
And I'll tell you why.
I mean,
We did
well,
while you look for that, we did, mayor and council members over in Ashleyville. There was a trailer park, believe it or not. It was done away with, great consternation, and there's a wonderful upscale neighborhood there. And they promised the developers to do, I think Ms. Shaw Johnson's on it, was a minimum of 4, may have been as much as 6.
Yes, sir, that's correct.
Affordable housing. And they've just about built that out and sold it all off. I haven't heard anything about one affordable house that they have done or doing or bought the property to do yet. So that's frankly, a bait and switch right now. That's the way it is in my category. And I know we'll follow that up, but they've done 44 very upscale units there. They began in the 550s. So when I look at this, which will be an upscale neighborhood, and we all know it, I would hope that the affordable housing piece and what Councilman Gregg is talking about, it shouldn't be sketchy on green space. If we know how much, look at all the acreage on this thing. Can you imagine Daniel Island without Governor's Park? We couldn't. Okay. So, well, we wouldn't want to imagine it without Governor's Park. Put it like that. So if it's a gray area, I would hope we would figure all that out prior to voting approval at council.
Councilman Gregg.
Yeah, my only objection to that, Councilman Waring, thank you, Mr. Chairman, would be that this really seems like a procedural issue. We're re-identifying some TMS numbers. We're bringing some parcels into the PUD that weren't originally. And so I agree, there's, we need to have some of these discussions, but I don't think that it really pertains to what's before the committee here today.
Well, if I may, when it comes to, I don't think, were you at the last council meeting we had on Daniel Island? This would have been last fall, about a year ago. I don't know if you.
I blocked that meeting out of my memory.
Heard a lot about it.
Well, my point is, there's nothing like when people begin to occupy, and some of the at the zoning hearing where about the affordable housing, I wish you could have seen the stream of people that came to the planning commission, not quite as potentially violent, but very, very vocal, that if you put affordable housing on Daniel Island, it's going to change. Matter of fact, the quote was, "It is foreign to the island," and one after one, foreign to the island, foreign to the island. And of course, if we put it there, it was going to destroy the island. Well, I think that affordable housing is there, and unless you knew where it was, when you rode by it, you would not know that that's an affordable house. It was done very beautifully done. And yeah, I doubt that many people saw it because of that. Huh?
I said, for the record, I live about 500 feet from that affordable house.
You know what I'm talking about then. So
I don't think it's changed. It's been anything negative for the island. In fact, I think it's been a great positive for the island.
Well, thank you. Well, even the planners during that time thought so as well, and Mayor Rowley and all had that negotiated in. But when I look at this, I just don't know. Maybe it's clearly written and the PUD agreement. And I may be raising the issue in this moot, but I think we should know that one.
Well, yeah, and, oh, sorry, go ahead.
Mr. Mayor.
I just wanted to ask a question pursuant to this conversation. It was mentioned this part of this was like a Scribner's error, putting in a TMS number that had been left out. Melissa, is anything part of this approval today giving further entitlement or allowing more units to be built or anything like that?
No, sir.
Okay, thank you.
And from what I understand is the Horton and Triton tracks are already built out, I think. They're already developed for the most part.
I see.
And Councilmember Waring, to your answer to your question, 10% of the total residences offered for sale or lease on approximately 9,000 acres need to be affordable housing.
Okay. And Ms. Johnson, Shaw Johnson, how do they define that? Do you know how that affordable housing is defined? How do they define affordable housing?
Unfortunately, I am not familiar. Christopher, are you familiar at all? I know.
I'd have to dig in the PUD and see what it says in the PUD about the affordable housing. I think it's similar to what was on Daniel Island for the definitions.
Which
That'd be good. Well,
one?
listen, maybe you all didn't know that question was coming, but can that be ready for maybe find out those answers by the time we have a meeting tomorrow?
Yes, sir. Absolutely.
Okay. All right, good.
Councilmember Shade has his hand up.
Councilman Shade, please.
Thank you. And so if we're just going to go ahead and approve this to address some technical issues and Scribner errors on this, then Melissa, when would it be appropriate time to make sure that we're addressing these other concerns that I've raised and Councilman Waring has raised?
So I think we can have a sit down with the developer, and part of what we need to do is, I know that Amy's office is getting together what the minimum city investment, and once we have that, we'll have a good idea of the money that we're looking at for these projects.
Okay.
And then for the, we can sit down with the developer at any time for projects on his budget as well.
But our muscle on this is the approval process as we go through the development of this land. And I don't want to miss out an opportunity to make sure that as they're going through this approval process, it would not take an advantage of what we need to do for our community and our citizens.
Yes, sir. I understand that. We can go into an executive session if you would like and talk about the approval process for this third amendment, or any other, random development that comes through. We can certainly have a discussion with the developer at that time.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
All right. Does anybody have any further comments, questions, discussion items? I actually forgot. Did we have a motion on the floor, or did we?
I
I
believe,
don't remember.
I think we have the motion for approval.
Okay, good deal. Well, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All
Aye.
opposed? Councilman Waring, did you oppose?
No, I voted on it. I'm waiting for the answers at tomorrow's meeting.
I actually have it.
Okay.
I don't mean to interrupt the motion, but if you would like the answer.
I would, if the chairman would allow.
I mean, the more information, the better, right? Let's do it.
So affordable housing means rental property having income equal to or less than 80 to 120% of the Charleston Standard Metropolitan Statistical Area, and fee simple property 120 to 150% of the Charleston SMSA.
New definition.
Mr. Mayor.
Normally, Gianna, we go by, of course, Charleston County AMI. This property, of course, is in Berkeley County. Does HUD do a MSA figure as well, or is that just something we take the 3 counties and average it, or?
Yes, sir, that's correct. That just means the metropolitan statistical area. Typically, however, 150 is a bit higher than we normally go. The Housing Authority is known for renting up to 150% of the AMI. Usually our maxed out number, if you will, or percentage is 120% of the area median income. We feel like beyond that, the market should be able to take care of those folks. But I know that that is a percentage that the Housing Authority uses when they rent, and the units they have on Daniel Island are rented to some folks at the 150 AMI.
So renting is 80 to 120. Buying is 120 to 150.
Right. And so typically when we are doing a for sale product, we will go up to 120 AMI versus 150.
So what's clear to me, if I may interject, Mr. Chairman and fellow council members, is thankfully council's attention to affordable housing over the last few years has resulted on us being a little more meticulous about the percentages and the requirements. I guess this development agreement was approved, what, 8 or 10 years ago originally?
The affordable housing component was 2014.
2014, so 8 years ago. This would have been probably typical of what the city was approving at that time. Here we are 8 years later, we asked for more because we know we need more. You know, that's what happened back then.
Okay.
All right. I believe we were in the process of voting. Any further discussion before we finalize this one? Hearing none. Well, actually, we voted.
We voted.
Yeah, everybody, sorry, guys, it's
been approved.
been approved. All right, moving on to the next one. Item H. This is to provide authorization for the mayor to execute the necessary documents for the substantial rehabilitation of 3 Drews Court. David, is this one that you're taking on, or?
No, sir, I'll handle
Okay.
that. Councilmember Appel.
All
So
right.
you all authorized approximately 30 days ago the reacquisition of this site. The previous owner passed away. And so we secured the site and are now going to rehabilitate it completely so that it can be put back on the market and sold to a first-time home buyer. And I would remind us, as part of this, the family of the deceased owner is providing about $32,000 towards the rehabilitation costs related to this home.
Got it.
Move for approval.
To recall this, when we have a motion.
Second.
Floor,
Second.
moved and
I'll
properly
second.
seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Hearing none, the ayes have it. And now we are on.
Move for
to-
approval of all item number I, Mr. Chairman.
All right.
I'll second it.
Motion and seconded to approve 4 annexations. Any questions, any discussion?
Just want to note for the record that another parcel in District 9 is creeping into the city again, so.
Got it.
No District 11 annexations this week.
Yeah, there must be some kind of mistake. I'll call Molly after this, and maybe we've gotten everybody. But any of that, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Hearing none, the ayes have it. And last but not least is an executive session item to receive legal advice in consideration of a potential land purchase. Will someone please make the proper?
I move that we go to executive session to receive.
I'll
legal
second it.
Moved and properly seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Well,
Aye.
what's the reason we going into executive session?
Well, on the agenda, it's to receive legal advice for consideration of a potential land purchase. Does that comport with your motion?
And that was Councilman Shahid's motion, wasn't it?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And that's what I seconded.
Good deal. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Uh,
Aye.